Hey, you know who I am, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing this because I can't imagine anyone would find it naturally. Maybe I'll post it to YouTube, who knows. You can find me on Twitter right here at freerolls_DFS. On recent tweets, I have posted my projections and I have posted starters and information, as well as the LPL posters, which is one of my favorite things about the LPL. Even though, honestly, like, I prefer the LCK, but I'm coming around. Let's talk about the slate for tonight. Usually I would do like a short write up, but I feel like while this is kind of an uncomplicated but interesting slate, honestly there's just more that I wanted to write. I think there's some pretty interesting challenges. So right behind me, you're going to see the slate itself. Basically, it's a five gamer. The LPL games seem pretty straightforward. If you go on to my Twitter account, you're going to see one of the things is projections. Next to the team names with the projections, you'll see the match, and it has all the Vegas odds to give you an idea of what you'd be looking at there. For game one, it's OMG's JDG. I mean, JDG lost to Weibo, but uh, do we really think that they're going to lose to OMG? The big argument is, of course, that OMG also beat Weibo, and so the what's it called? The law of it doesn't matter. If you're just looking at comparative opponents, OMG should be pretty heavily favored here. In reality, I think that JDG can overcome the few issues that they have and should walk right through OMG. I have them as a 2-1, as you can see in the predictions, which are about halfway down the page. Game 2, IG RNG. One of the really important things to note is that IG is not starting You Should Know Me tonight. They're starting Mini in the top lane. I don't think that that's an upgrade. And even if it is, does it really matter too much? They lost to Ninjas in Pajamas. RNG, we haven't really seen much from them against upper half teams, top 9 teams. We saw them face LNG, which would be like a top 5, top 6 team, and they lost terribly, but IG are not in that. IG to make the playoffs would be like really, I think that would be really a good turnout for them, the way that they're currently playing and the way they're constructed. Hard for me to get against RNG here, but I do think IG can take a game. I have RNG 2-1. Game 3 of the LPL is probably the most interesting one to me. I think there's like a pretty good argument to look at BLG tonight, but the standard of competition so far in the split hasn't been very sound for them. They've only faced OMG and RA. But hey, look, OMG, like we said earlier, beat Weibo and they're world beaters. Maybe they beat JDG tonight. Maybe BLG is the best team. And we can look at MSI and get an idea of what BLG looks like in comparison to average. That said, EDG are a slight favorite. I think that favorite may not be enough. I like EDG to win 2-1 here, and I think there's a reasonable possibility that they 2-0 this match. When we talk about pricing, they are also the cheapest team on the slate, and we'll look at some ways that we can maybe build that out in more interesting fashion. For the LCK, we got 2 games, KT versus HLE. Guys, just back KT, back HLE if you want to. For betting purposes, I think either one of them are reasonable. The odds are pretty short, so I'm not really interested in any of those bets. In fact, I'm not interested in this game at all, and I think the likelihood of it being an important DFS game is pretty low. They are the fourth most expensive team on the slate, KT, as far as favorites go. So maybe there's an argument that you would look at pieces from KT if you felt like they were a huge favorite. I don't think they are. I think the Vegas odds are probably about right, and I would anticipate that this is a 2-1 matchup. Um, it could end up going 2-0, but that would be the only scenario in which you would want pieces of it, which would be you'd look at team slot, maybe top, although this slate presents interesting opportunities. That'd probably be it. You could look at support, but I'm not sure that you're going to have enough action in the game. And especially, I mean, aiming can really come in strong. Maybe they do play the entire game through the bot lane and Lahens ends up pretty active, but we haven't seen that historically from him. He's been, a strong player, but I mean, he's fucking better. He's better than me. I don't know anything. I know nothing. Let's talk about game two. Damwon or D plus Kia versus Live Sandbox. LSB is like fine, right? They're fine. They definitely have made an upgrade. Well, I think it's probably an upgrade with Teddy as the RADC, but Damwon are, should be huge favorites here. They are. They're, minus 435. There is an interesting thing. I feel like maybe there's a betting line that's a little off here. When I had looked earlier, the over 2.5 maps was plus 130, but LSB plus 1.5 was going at plus 290. And so I took a small position on the LSB plus 1.5 because I think there's a possibility the LSB can take a map here. And if Live Sandbox takes a map, I'll take 3-1 basically all day. For pricing, we have real struggles. Damwon's the most expensive team. They should dominate. Is it worth it to pick them up? The way that my model is currently working, and it's early in the split, tonight's the opening night even for LCK, is bad. My model's working poorly. We've come pretty close in some positions. We're narrowing it down, but it's hard with data points, not knowing how strong some of these teams are, and not knowing how teams that we haven't seen play for a while fit to new meta, as well as what lanes they're prioritizing and playing through, and what we can expect from them that way. So basically, I'm not interested in Damwon Live Sandbox tonight at all, except for perhaps in the team slot. I think that like Canna's pretty interesting. If we see Birtle, I mean, Canna could really do well, but we may see action move through Canyon. And like, if it goes 2-1, it's only interesting from the team slot for me for Damwon. If it's 2-0, it's probably just team slot. You can create a great amount of differentiation from the field by playing Damwon just because the pricing, and I can't imagine they'll be very popular, that people are going to be willing to pay up for them. You would also have to find a dog to pair them with, and I don't know that there's any very interesting dogs tonight except for Invictus or Billy Billy. BLG probably the most interesting in my mind, even though I think they're also kind of the most likely to get dumpstered in an O2. JDG's pricing is fine in some positions. What DraftKings did was they created pricing that was, and I think this is the right thing to do. They recognized that right now most of the meta is going to move back to the bot lane, and so they really priced up ADCs. So you can easily put a Kanavi captain in, but you cannot run a Kanavi captain with somebody's going to prove me wrong, but I don't believe you can run a Kanavi captain with a 4 stack of JDG players and then a 3 stack of any other favorite or 2 stack in team from any other favorite. I believe that that's a complete price out, which means if you're looking at like a 4 stack of JDG, you could easily get forced into running like a support captain, which isn't necessarily a bad idea on if you feel like they're gonna 2-0 strongly, it's not a bad idea to look at a support captain necessarily if you can fill out the rest of your lineup intelligently. I do want to talk about one other thing. I don't know if any of this is helpful, but it's helpful for me. I want to talk about mid. So there are a couple of teams that we've seen so far in the LPL that are really emphasizing mid play. and that is a big portion of their success when they've been successful. And both those teams that I have been marking are playing tonight. One of them is EDG, where they've really Fofo's been very active in the maps that they've won. The other one is IG, where they have really forced through Cryan. I don't have any interest in IG. If we were looking at ways we could differentiate from the field and we're looking at taking IG as a dog, it would be interesting to do something like if they were the short stack with like a JDG 4 stack, it would be interesting to run like Cryan in the mid instead of running Knight and building through that way, which would also let us dodge on that short stack running Ninny. I haven't seen any information on why they have benched YSKM. He may not be available. It could be a medical thing or something. But my nightmare would be that you start Ninny. You'd be running really well, and then you run into like a second or third game, and YSKM comes on, and you you just end up missing a takedown by a few points when you could run a much more likely to score player like Cryan wildly. But that's just the way that the teams have chosen to play so far, and we don't know if that'll continue. But when you look at my projections, you'll see that that is very clearly what we've seen before. Oh man, I guess yeah, we go. And when you look at the projections, which you can again find on my Twitter, you'll see that like Cryan is really set to outperform in both wins and losses versus on um, I don't understand this at all. I look at what's happening, I try to create a sense of order to it and then put it into a spreadsheet and then feed it to you. We're so early on in the slate that I think these things are really uh, fluctuating and it's dangerous to make any guesses. So perhaps the thing to do is just like flip a coin. But with 5 games tonight, I would say this. What I think is going to be a pretty chalky lineup, but that has a lot of value, you can do in EDG, RNG, double favorite, 4-3 with an ADC captain. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think one way that I'm really interested in playing tonight, not to tell you my lineups, but would be to look at a Fofo captain and then trying to find enough mid scoring from another team, another favorite. It would also clear a lot of space and allow me to do like a 3-team build and maybe get to some other options. I will give you one other thing that's not that I don't. Sometimes I post it. I didn't today. Here are my expected scores, my expected kills per map win for teams. I have Damwon. Their map wins would be 15, JDG map wins 15, RNG map wins 19, KT map wins 15, EDG map wins 16. Our two biggest kills in map wins, and this is commonly the case, are going to come from dogs, and it's because bad teams tend to fight more. They have to fight their way out. So IG and BLG both have, again, in my absolute make believe BS model, an expectation when they win maps to win to have 20 or more kills, between 20 and 22 kills. So that does make it a little more attractive to look at a team like BLG. BLG fits well with everything except Damwon and JDG. It comes close with JDG. I think you may have to punt at team if you want to do it as a 4-3 with 4 JDG. But if we're going to BLG, if you're going to IG, I think you just got to slam those as your 4 stack and just accept that you're buying into the idea that they're going to score enough kills to make it worthwhile. Anyways, that's really it. Sorry for the quality of everything. I'm working on a potato. Also, my cat stole my mouse. I cannot find it for the life of me. And yeah, I appreciate you if you've come this far. And have a great day. Good luck on the slate. Just play EDG, man. Or don't. Actually, play BLG. No, you got to play EDG. Or BLG. I think you got to play EDG or BLG just for the price. EDG. No, I think maybe you play BLG. But EDG does